Was there a more advanced society among us before we even know? Is it possible that several architectural and engineering feats were already here before we arrived? This is the theory amongst a slew of online research coming out every day. What do we really know about the structures of our world that have served us for so long? Perhaps they were already here and simply discovered and repurposed. Or were they created by a previous civilization? Let's rewind to the 19th century. Power tools and heavy machinery were very uncommon, as they had only started to be used in the late part of the century. They weren't invented yet in the early 1800s or even up to the mid to late 1800s. Some of the most opulent feats of engineering are impossible to fathom how they were built by a simple horse and buggy society working with tools like spades, pickaxes, rakes, and hammers. All over North America we find incredibly long and large canal systems that move large bodies of water to new directions to better serve us. 14-mile long and 450-foot wide canal systems were built at depths of 35 feet or more in places like Delaware. Considering the tools and manpower needed, this must have been an incredible feat for the early 19th century. Between 1817 and 1825, the Erie Canal was built. When it was first constructed, it was meant to be a whopping 363 miles long. This number is astounding. If this is broken down more simply, the builders were constructing almost a mile of canal per week. This is truly a stunning feat. Through forests, large rock escarpments, and various other challenges, the early 19th century builders managed to construct this massive structure at a pace simply unmatched today. Without modern machines or tools, they were able to complete this massive canal in under a decade. The system has 20 to 30 locks and several complex aqueducts. Researchers have tried to identify if there were any civil engineers in the country at the time, without any luck. Perhaps there weren't any. This massive accomplishment of architecture, engineering, construction, and sheer determinative manpower was, nonetheless, completed and is still being used today. There are numerous other examples of astounding accomplishments across our realm, many of them built in the early 19th century. Who were these highly skilled, determined workers of the early 19th century? Today, with all our modern technologies, many of these structures are simply too costly and expansive to be able to economically justify their construction. Let's use the megalithic rock theory to compare. In the world today, we find several precision-cut megaliths peppered across our realm, from Peru to Egypt and Turkey to Italy and even North America. Archaeologists in Lebanon have uncovered a megalith from the Phoenician era at a 2,000-year-old limestone quarry that weighs an estimated 1,000 tons. The megalith was first discovered by a farmer in the Bekaa Valley back in 1978, and it is believed to have been originally quarried sometime between 50 BC and 200 CE. This is just one example of a precision-cut megalithic stone. If we can come to an understanding that societies thousands of years ago were able to cut and shape stones like this, why wouldn't a more recent civilization be able to achieve what we think is impossible today? Online research speculates that we may be suffering from a collective memory loss. Was there a more recent societal reset that we simply are not aware of today? Further to these megaliths, we can find impossible waterworks in ancient cathedrals and places of worship or ritual. Are we to believe that hunter-gatherer societies chiseled these waterworks out by hand? Why were they created in the first place? Many of them are a number of stories deep, but are so intricately designed, high-level planning must have been used. Is there more to the story that we simply do not know? These structures can range from hundreds to thousands of years old, and we simply don't have the answers as to who built them and how. What is the knowledge that we lost? Why are we not building such magnificence in modern-day structures? The similarities of all these types of architecture span across our realm. Between continents separated by oceans and mountains, we find overlapping architectural styles. How would this be possible without the ability to travel long distances quickly or easily? We didn't have modern communication in those days. Many societies may not have been able to travel at all. From Africa to Asia to Europe and the Americas, we see the similarities in arches, cathedrals, municipal buildings, and countless other examples. Were there travelers trading architectural designs and plans in the recent past? Is it possible there was a more singular group of more advanced people constructing and designing these buildings? In the mid-19th century, plans were underway to construct a system of tubes in London, England, that could carry items and people. The London Pneumatic Railway System. This was one of the first types of subway systems. The magnificence of this is that it was built in the 1800s and was essentially a Victorian-age Hyperloop system. Constructed by the London Pneumatic Dispatch Company, a simple steam engine ran this Hyperloop system, sending 3-ton carts through these tunnels with speeds up to 40 miles per hour. This was an absolute marvel of technology and engineering at the time. Surprisingly, the system was only used for 11 years between 1863 and 1874. Later, another company had also developed these tubes and carts that could travel between locations in the city in record time and up to 60 miles per hour, and had even carried passengers. The idea was to carry passengers and packages throughout the city to alleviate the traffic on the streets. With success, it operated, but for vague financial reasons, the project was shut down. Looking back to the 18th century and having a close look at the labor, tools, and sheer manpower needed to build anything like this is astonishing. Was the old world on its way to being a cleaner, greener place? From sacred geometry, free energy, and simple travel within cities, it seems as if though things were heading in a good direction. 19th century underground tube trains propelled by compressed air. This almost sounds like it is a made-up fairy tale, but it is in fact reality. How is this even possible with items like power tools not being invented until the late 1800s? The escalator wasn't invented until the 1890s. Keep in mind that the first hydraulic excavator wasn't invented until 1882. These builders had to bore tunnel systems throughout the undergrounds of entire cities before installing these hyperloops. How could this have even been done in a timely manner? At the time, the most common tools to bore tunnels were hammers and chisels. Yes, that's right, hammers and chisels, and pure manpower with the help of ox and horses, of course. Is there more to this than we simply do not know? How are these marvels of engineering and architecture possible to accomplish without the engineers, technology, and machinery we have today? Online researchers claim an advanced society did precede us and that this may not have been that long ago. Are we suffering from a collective memory loss? Only more research will bring us closer to the true story of the creation of our realm and our existence within it. Stay tuned for more next time. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up icon. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notifications for new videos.